Quote tweeting Dexerto. Legal expert Dr. Celia Ponton says Stop Killing Games' idea of having laws protecting gamers is, quote, complicated, and there's a mismatch between what people might be calling for and what is possible when it comes to how existing legislation works. And Dexerto got community noted with the readers adding context. Dr. Celia Ponton and her employers have a conflict of interest and are thus clearly biased against consumers' rights platforms such as Stop Killing Games, and showcasing the tweet from Stop Killing Games. Well, it turns out the ... expert has a slight conflict of interest, being a subsidiary of a company that works for Sony and other ESA VGE members, big publisher lobby clowns. Thanks to Gotti1 for doing the research, and this is the information that we went through earlier, and what Flux digital policy is, and who this quote-unquote doctor really is. And I did a little bit of research on my own as well. Again, every time I bring this up, never harass or contact anyone I talk about. This is for information and educational purposes only. And there's one thing that stands out to me as soon as I brought this up. She's a she, her, guys. She's got her pronouns in there. So we already know what we're dealing with this quote-unquote doctor. Director of Policy and Public Affairs at Flux, Digital Policy, Video Games Policy Expert, ex-regulator in the UK. Huh. It's all coming together. I know quite a bit about how video games are regulated, and I'm reasonably confident that this will be somewhat useful to at least half a dozen of you. So she knows nothing about how video games are made and what goes on behind the scenes. She is a quote-unquote expert on how they're regulated. So I fail to understand how she would know it's complicated. She is not a developer. So how would she know anything about it being complicated? That's why you shouldn't rush. How would she even have a stance on this? I'm very confused. Drum says, this is who is killing gaming. And shocker, green hair, danger signs abound. Dr. Celia, as both a graduate of the law and leads on some of the biggest games, you are full of it. And we got Stop Killing Games. The fuck is this? Gaslighting now? It's complicated? People's favorite playbook for preventing any real debate. Well, explain to us. Why is it complicated? We've been trying to publicly debate this industry for over a year now. I can vouch for that. With all my coverage on this, they have been asking questions and being very open to any kind of responses. And all they get met with is silence. And saying, we just want this. Oh, we can't do that. Why not? Silence. Every time. These people lie to the Senate, meet the commission at invite-only dinners, and publish misleading articles. But never once have they addressed their own community directly. There's a mismatch between how a dialogue is supposed to work and how it's actually working right now. And they're referencing the ESA situation that I covered before, because that whole thing was a mess in itself. We got Artemis saying, it's not complicated in the slightest. I wasn't hard. Pause, Artemis. It wasn't hard when games were on this. It shouldn't be hard now. The biggest issue is no one wants to challenge the corporations producing the game. It's a very simple thing. I buy the game, I own the game. The studios should not be able to take that from me. It's not that complicated. The move to digital only is stupid. It costs very little in the big picture for companies to make discs. The biggest issues is they keep making flops. When a digital game flops, they don't lose as much, which is very true. I haven't even talked about that angle when it comes to the all-digital future. You thought there's shovelware slop now? Just imagine how bad it's going to get when they don't have to risk anything physical media. When they can just move forward and say, yeah, we're going to throw this out there. It's the same problem with what happens with Microsoft and Game Pass, where the games are, some could argue, not 100% effort that they used to be back in the OG Xbox and 360 days, when you felt like you got a complete game with multiplayer, with a full storyline, with all the DLC included on it. Now it feels like they just churn and burn games because everything is just make as much money as we can and move on to the next one. There's no passion for creating something that will stand the test of time like it used to. And that's truly unfortunate. And then we have people like this POS this Celia Pontin that is a doctor, a she-her, that is going to tell you guys that it's complicated. Guys, it's complicated. This is like going to McDonald's and asking for a cheeseburger, and McDonald's being like, it's complicated. Wait, why is it complicated?
Is this a transgender individual?
We got this new system we're trying out. This is all digital stuff, and it's really hard to make a cheeseburger because we haven't trained Bill in back there to make the cheeseburger, so the computer's the one doing it now, so it's complicated to make it. Just make the fucking burger, bro!
I'm shooting circles around
I don't want to hear excuses. I am the customer. I am opening my wallet to buy your product. And if you are not making a product that satisfies the needs of my wallet, I will not be buying your products anymore. And then the spiral of the industry will speed up. And I think at the end of the day, we are like, I don't want to say like I'm taking credit for this, but like, stop killing games, legendary drops, Asmongold. There's so many. I'm not going to go through a list. There's so many content creators that see what's going to happen.
You're missing out.
We are the whistleblowers of the holy shit. Someone needs to get control of this train because it is off the rails right now. And it is picking up speed, heading right into a brick wall. So you can let it destroy itself, and in the meantime, take full advantage of all the customers. Or you can try to guide it back to safety and be like, okay, remember back in the mid-2020s when we were trying to take everything from the customers and not give them anything? Man, those were wild times. Glad we don't do that anymore.
Coordinating this attack.
Hey,
you letting me win, Fox?
Right there's
you gotta do better than that.
Especially with the lobbying groups and special interest groups, the ESA and this protecting gamers group that this Pontin works at for Flux Digital. Like, I feel like every day there's a new special interest group coming to the defense of the big corpo to shut down, stop killing games. And it blows my mind.
Something like this.
I can't get a lock.
Enemy shield analyzed.
Distracted.
I challenge you to combat, Starbucks. Your skills in battle disappoint me. You won't strike me again. I have survived much worse. I'm not finished yet.
Okay. Yep, lost 3 seconds.
Halo Campaign Evolved is doing terrible. And even though it's doing terrible, and I've said that before, it's doing even worse than it was previously. And we have some information to go over about the future of Halo Studios, or as I like to call them, 343 Industries, that got their name changed, thinking that they could paint over a terrible studio and that it would be, people would just forget about how bad the studio was at Halo. It's like, it's still the same studio. You just changed the name of it. And people are seeing that with the numbers that are coming out. Halo Campaign Evolved, as of right now, Friday night, keep in mind, just before 9 p.m. Pacific, 2 weeks after the full release, it is down to 3,134 points. And you can say, oh, Smash, it's just a campaign game, and it came out 2 weeks ago, and most people already played it and beat it, and they're not playing it anymore. Okay, I guess, but then how do you explain, how long ago did Halo Infinite launch? 2021 on Steam. It is now at almost the same concurrent player count. Now, yes, obviously Halo Infinite has multiplayer, but bro, these should not even be in the same ballpark 2 weeks after the launch of a new game, especially the remake of an all-timer. That's how bad Campaign Evolved is performing. Never mind getting completely dunked on by Halo Master Chief Collection, which at the same time has over 8,500 concurrent players. And in this video, we're going to talk about some of the former developers of Halo having some issues with things that they've done. And we also have some fairly interesting rumors that are discussing Halo's future in outsourcing and how Halo Studios may not actually be the company behind making this game anymore. We're going to start with Marcus Leto. Not familiar? This is the co-creator of Halo, veteran game developer. So I think this guy knows something about Halo. While Forerunner tech was metal, not stone, it was also ancient, vast, alive, and a tool to the horrors that lurk within. It had seen hundreds of millennia of conflict, yet the game shows it as a shiny metal that looks like it was built a few years ago. Like, these are the things that you would think a studio called Halo Studios would not fuck up. Like, that's one of those, you need to understand the game, the lore, and sometimes not making things super shiny made sense. Like, that's, they could have made it shiny in the original, you morons. The point of it was saying that it was old, so it wasn't supposed to be shiny. Like, they're all excited to push through the Unreal Engine on everything and be like, look guys, look at how great this is, how shiny it is. Marcus continues, says, the main menu ring is the most offensive thing we see every time we boot up the game.
Oh,
it should feel massive, dark, mysterious, sinister, but also full of wonder. This new ring looks like a shiny new toy, out of scale, no mystery, damn ugly. And you know what? I wholeheartedly agree. The top one is infinitely cooler than the bottom one.
Wait, there are other like objects now?
Like, holy crap. Marcus says, also, for the lore, the ring in Campaign Evolved resides far out of the fringe of the Milky Way galaxy, which we see in the background. They forgot the fucking Milky Way galaxy too. Like, this is what happens when you cut corners and you put people into a studio that have no idea what the fuck.
Are you sure the army can take this heat?
Haley said,
I've made some
that's what I said
modifications
too.
to offset
That
the
ancient,
extreme
vast,
temperature.
mysterious feeling that used to
We'll be
define
okay
Halo
as long as
has
our
been
shields hold.
completely stripped
After
away.
that, we're
And
good.
Alex, the smaller
Sorry
details
I
on the
asked.
OG Halo design also make it feel much larger in scale and scope compared to the smooth metallic design of 343. Yeah, this looks like almost like a Star Wars ship from really far away with the
There's no
tiny
way your
lights
ship can
everywhere
handle
on it.
this.
Like, it's just massive. This
My
other
shield
one
will
just
hold
looks
long enough for me to
like
pay you
a
back.
freaking bridge. There's nothing special about that. But man, oh man,
My
you got
shields are
the
depleted.
guy
Keep
behind
fighting the good fight,
the
Fox.
original Halo, the co-creator of it, coming in with his elbow to drop on this game and say, bro, this ain't it. Haley says, this is the man who created Master Chief, tagging Ashish Sharma, shut down Halo Studios and bring back the original devs. Halo Studios has completely butchered the crown jewel of Xbox. And fire Matt Booty's ass too. Guy's done nothing good for Halo. The cronyism is obvious. He put Pierre in charge because they worked together back at Midway, not because it was the right move for Halo. Then they had the nerve to fire Joe Staten and Paul Bertrand, the people who actually built Halo. And now they're out here trying to remake the game those guys created. The disrespect toward the people who made Halo what it is disgusting. And that's not even talking about how the wokies are now no longer inviting Marty O'Donnell to conventions because he's running for Congress as a Republican. And because of that, he's not being allowed to go to conventions. Like, what are we doing here? Grums, it really shows how little they cared for the legacy of Halo when the original creators are pointing out how wrong they were. The IP must be given to a brand new team. There is no way to fix this. Well, Grums, you're in luck because
like
later in this video, we're going to talk about allegedly what is
Just
going
like
to be
Bungie.
happening with this studio. Pirate
Here's
Nation.
our target.
Halo co-creator Marcus Leto says leaving PvP multiplayer out of Halo Campaign Evolved was a mistake. Leto, who was the original art director for Halo Combat Evolved, said split-screen multiplayer should have been included and mocked the decision on lack of oversight and poor planning. Quote, split-screen multiplayer in Campaign Evolved should have been included. There's little excuse aside from lack of oversight and poor planning that led to this misstep. So sad that it wasn't included. He later clarified that he was specifically talking about the remake not having PvP. So sad this wasn't included, adding that it would have been awesome if PvP were eventually added. Yeah, and I'm sure they're going to find a way to charge you extra for that too, because that's how they work. Marcus continued talking about other aspects. He says, been slowly playing through Campaign Evolved on Heroic, the diff we designed the game for 25 years ago. Overall, I really love the updates. Movement, cinematics, visuals, damn, the lighting is brilliant. Do I have gripes? A few, but they are taking a backseat to the fun. So even with his frustrations and the obvious things that they're missing out on when they did this, he said the game is still fun at the end of the day. Although that's also overlooking this creature, Endymion. Halo Campaign Evolved added a badass female Marine with a scar on her face because they just couldn't help themselves.
I'm Lieutenant Williams, Tiger Company.
You don't seem as impressed as the rest of your crew.
No, Sergeant Major, I'm not. Takes more than fancy armor and a good PR campaign to impress me.
PR?
Not bad, Spartan.
I'm almost starting to believe the propaganda.
Not the propaganda.
Thanks. Spartans aren't the only badasses in the UNSC.
But if you look past all that, I'm sure there's a good game to be found. Learning a lot. Halo Studios would burn their offices to the ground before making Cortana look like this again.
Just like the R-Wing. It hovers too.
Where's the lie, by the way? Learning a lot. Someone found a way in Halo Campaign Evolved to send Lieutenant Williams, probably Halo Studios' HR self-insert, into oblivion and make her disappear from the game. Let's go!
You don't seem as impressed as the rest of your crew.
We've got company up
No,
here.
Sergeant Major, I'm not. Takes more than fair.
If you're as sick of Lieutenant Williams' taunts as I am, I found a way to stop her from spawning for the rest of the mission.
Fancy armor and a good PR campaign to impress me.
They'll patch this out. Use a grenade to launch her body toward the edge of the map. If you get it far enough, she won't respawn for the rest of the mission. Quick, do it before they patch it out. Peace. She gone. She gone. So here's what's going to be happening. Allegedly, this is everything that I'm going to be talking about moving forward is rumor, so take it with a grain of salt. But I do find it fascinating. r/Gaming Leaks. Halo's future is outsourcing and other rumors by Rebs Gaming. And Rebs has a video that he was put out, but this is TLDR. And it says 15 plus studios worked on building Campaign Evolved. Involves everything from top to bottom, i.e. enemy AI, level design, gameplay systems, literally everything. Rumor that Activision could be making a Halo game. Supposedly, Activision built a basic prototype Halo game to test. Sledgehammer Games would lead the Halo game. Idea is that other outsourced studios build the game to speed up development times, while Halo Studios works on making content for the game. Just get rid of Halo Studios, bro. What are we doing? What are we doing here? This is a fairly new, hot off the press video from Rebs Gaming. Halo's future is outsourcing. I have not seen this yet, so we're gonna watch it together and figure it out.
What's up, everyone? This is Rebs, and go Birds! Over the past few years, I've had Halo developers tell me that the head of Halo Studios, Pierre Hintz, would outsource as much development as possible for future Halo projects. It turns out they were right, and I'll explain why in this report.
Which is just first, before we go further, this is a little bit surprising to me based off of the amount of people they've been firing, laying off, and cutting contracts up, that he's saying it's going to be more outsourcing and contract work. So, like new contracts and starting all over with different people? Very interesting.
Let's start with Campaign Evolved. The credits confirm that all areas of development were outsourced to many studios. I counted 15 studios.
This can't happen. This can't, for a game this big, for a studio dedicated to making the game, sure, outsourcing is a part of most AAA releases. I understand that. But you can't You can't have everything outsourced, every single department and every single little thing, and try to tie it all together at the main. Like, no, that's not how this works, bro. Maybe smaller things and smaller projects and things like that, yes. But what a mess. It's a miracle this game even came together in the first place.
Studios in the credits: Arrival, FX Chamber, Devoted, Digic, Keyword Studios, Sparasoft, and Snowden Studios, who are owned by Keywords, Skybox Labs, Sprung Studios, Virtuos, Sparks, who is owned by
What do all these
Virtuos,
studios have
Ninja Theory,
other than
Turn 10
outsourcing?
I'm
Studios.
hearing a little bit of an echo and reverberation on
Outsourcing.
his microphone. That's not me. That's coming through on him, if anyone's wondering.
And Rare. The last studio is Abstraction, who was owned by Virtuos. In my previous video reports, I revealed that Abstraction's contract with Halo Studios was terminated in the middle of development last year because of development problems, and they left Virtuos a few months later to return to independent ownership. This is why Abstraction is not directly mentioned in the credits,
This is
but
insane.
their employees are listed in the special thanks section. Some of the studios that helped create Campaign Evolved were
Just think of all the wasted millions and millions, like tens of millions of dollars putting this game together, and the loose ends and shit shows of contracts that weren't going anywhere that they canceled, still gave special thanks to, and then didn't use any of the stuff that they did. What a gigantic waste of money that was.
responsible for major areas of development from start to finish, including Virtuos and Abstraction. Virtuos delivered end-to-end art from world creation to characters, vehicles, and weapons. Abstraction designed and developed campaign missions from concept to block out to polish, including scripted events and gameplay balancing. Based on all of this information, it's obvious that Campaign Evolved was heavily outsourced, and during the same time, Halo Studios was outsourcing another new game, codenamed Project Ecker. As I reported, it was going to be the next Halo multiplayer game before it was cancelled sometime after last summer.
That's crazy. So they're gonna make a multiplayer game separate from the campaign mode. Like they were going to piecemeal out what used to come together in games. They wanted to separate it and charge you twice.
I spoke to a source who confirmed that Ecker's development was being outsourced more than previous Halo games. This story does not end with Campaign Evolved and Ecker, because there's an interesting rumor that Activision is going to develop future Halo projects. It started last month when gaming journalist and insider Jez Corden.
I was gonna say, this is not the first time I've heard this rumor. And initially when Jez came out with this, I was just like, I don't know if I'm buying that, but now that we see what's happened with the Campaign Evolved,
Sorry,
like,
Pepe.
it does seem a lot more likely that this could be a real thing.
That he heard a rumor that Microsoft might have Activision develop Halo games. A few weeks later, I spoke to a source who previously sent me a bunch of Campaign Evolved information that turned out to be 100% accurate. They told me that Microsoft was exploring a proposition to have Activision help develop Halo games, which includes having Sledgehammer Games help develop a Halo multiplayer
Call me crazy, but that actually gives me hope.
game. They also said that Activision started testing a prototype for a Halo pitch in June. Apparently, it was in the blockout phase, and only basic gameplay mechanics such as player movement were tested. However, I'm told they canceled it in early July. Canceling the pitch prototype does not mean Activision won't develop Halo games. According to my source, Microsoft is still exploring the problem.
I don't understand why it costs these studios so much money to get multiplayer just to function. Like with all the years and decades behind it, it's been perfected. The formula, you understand how to send packets back and forth. Everything in the back end should be figured out from previous games to do it. Yet every time they start a new game, it's a shit show trying to figure out multiplayer. Why is that?
Decision, but they have not greenlit anything yet. Based on Campaign Evolved,
No, he said everything he told me was 100% accurate when it came to be. But then what he's saying in addition to that is other stuff that has not happened yet. So this is a rumor.
And the Activision prototype, it's safe to say that the majority of development for all future Halo projects will be outsourced. This could be a great decision for the Halo franchise, since outsourcing can speed up development and allows developers to create more content. However, for outsourcing to be successful, Halo Studios must learn from the mistakes they made during Campaign Evolved's development. In my last video, I revealed that Halo Studios leadership mismanaged their co-development partners.
That's hiring the wrong people. You have Wookiees in charge. They are not leaders. They are agenda pushers.
Including abstraction, which is the reason why Campaign Evolved had serious development problems and were released with significant issues. These issues include technical bugs, broken AI behavior, and even inconsistent designs of the Alpha Halo ring. The ring design in the main menu, as Halo co-creator Marcus Leto says, looks like a shiny new toy that's out of scale, has no mystery, and is ugly. But the design in the final cutscene is clearly different and resembles the dark, mysterious design of Alpha Halo and Combat Evolved.
What a shit show. How do you fuck up the ring? That's literally like the premise of Halo. How do you fuck this up? How do you have two different rings? How do you do that? I'm beside myself about that.
This is a clear indication that co-development studios were not properly managed by Halo Studios leadership. So, there is reason to be concerned about Halo Studios outsourcing Halo's future. But at this point, Halo needs all the help it can get. So let's hope Halo Studios leadership manages
that is exactly embarrassing.
Wait,
that is like,
I want to help.
If I was one of the developers working on the game and that came out, I would be like, oh shit. Yikes, that's not supposed to be that ring.
Sourcing properly. And that concludes this report. Make sure to leave a comment about your thoughts, stay tuned for my next video, and thank you so much for watching.
Shout out to Rebs, he's really been crushing it lately with his coverage on Halo. He's been on point with a lot of stuff too. And a relatively smaller channel, I've covered him, he's been doing this for a while, guys. Give him a sub and check him out. He does good shit. He really does. I will link that in the description of this video. And again, shout out to Rebs for that. And I'll leave it at this. Learning a lot. This is Bungie 2006 for Halo 3. There's a hard truth. Oh, hold on a second. I got strapped on the floor. Whoa! Who's a poor boy? Okay. Here we go.
There's nothing like 20.
There's a hard truth. Top quality games correlate with high IQ, old school, 90% males making games for gamers. With what's now labeled toxic masculinity. That's a fact. Any company unwilling to choose this path again will never reach the golden era. Here we go.
The arbiter has how much vengeance built up and really pushed that sword to the story that we're telling is such a human conflict, aggressive adversarial species.
They're trying to stop the golden era from ever happening again.
Called Cortana.
I do know how to pick 'em.
At least one of our writers refers to her as your girlfriend.
Cortana's every girlfriend that we've ever had. No, just kidding.
Like, just listen to these guys, the passion they have about this.
She's your little guardian angel.
Got an escape plan?
When the map design through evolves, it needs to be balanced.
Blue team, what are you doing?
They should have known better than to
The
worry.
blue team starts on one side, and the red team starts on another. To sort of have an equal arena to play.
I'll admit it.
Just imagine developing this, just knowing that you are making gold, like, in real time.
What's a perfect Halo bunker or a tower or a bridge? We're trying to make these ideal little situations, and then from that little situation, put a couple of them together, and that sort of becomes a level.
Design is such a broad concept. Designing a mission could be, I draw on a piece of paper, hey, here's the basic layout. You might take into consideration things like line of sight. You know, you certainly don't want the player to stand at point 1 of the level and see the very end of the level. I'm sure that Jamie will tell you that he owns the sandbox, and I'm sure that Damian and the engineers will probably tell you that they own the sandbox, but to me it's pretty clear that the people who own the sandbox are the people who buy the game, and the people who do their kinds of creative things within that sandbox that we could never have dreamed of.
Even in this, they're talking about how it's a sandbox, and they want you to be the creator of it. Meanwhile, the remake is like, you're going too far off the path. You need to return to your mission, Chief. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And here's the thing, and here's proof of why I know I haven't, like, fallen out of love with gaming. Because I see this, and I'm like, yes, just do this. Like, I would love this. Just have these types of people making the game, and it will be magical. It'll be amazing. It'll be perfect. They all got pushed out. It's time for them to start coming back. And I'd like to think with the onslaught of failure after failure after failure, at some point, the pendulum is going to swing back far enough for these people to start coming back in and making a difference and getting games back to being base as fuck. And I, for one, am looking forward to that. I'll leave that there.
Me too.